right, so today is the day that we welcome SNAQ, S-N-A-Q, the Carnegie Science Center's podcast, to the River's Edge Radio Network. Really thrilled about this. It's really exciting to bring them in. It's something I've been looking forward to for some time now. We've been doing a little bit of some test show type of stuff. We've been meeting with them for a while now. And it's finally here. It's finally here, SNAQ. And here, I've been trying to stall until I can get it behind for the video audience. You can see them back there preparing. And they have a great show, and it's a great affiliation. But of course, with all good things, there comes a bit of misery and a bit of pain. And that has to do, you guessed it, with the sleep schedule. So I'm here during today's show with red eyes, not one, but 2 cups of iced coffee. My skin, I don't know if you're very familiar with not sleeping. Most people don't not sleep, Jay. Most people get their 8 hours of sleep, and that seems to be a priority. It's never been one for me. But when you don't sleep, your skin gets cold and clammy and oily, especially around your eyes.
You get very irritable.
You get very irritable.
Yeah.
You get on edge.
Mm-hmm.
So don't piss me off. But that's how I feel right now. But I'm here.
Yeah.
I made it. 2 hours of sleep. And I did it for you. See how much you matter? See how much I care? That's Jay Cooper. I'm Brian Crawford. This is River Talk. This is the River's Edge Radio Network at riversedgepgh.com, which you can listen to on your Amazon Echo by asking your Alexa to play the River's Edge station on TuneIn.
That's right, because everybody should have an Alexa, right?
Yeah, I always feel like we're the biggest dicks in radio when we say that, because we've just activated everyone's Alexa and had it and have forced it to tune in to the River's Edge. But I feel like it's actively teaching people what they need to do, how they need to listen, right?
Right.
But yeah, this is the first time. This Friday show is the first time I've put myself in that situation since I've moved back to overnight. You remember, I used to do that all the time. I was running without sleep all the time. I've been better.
I don't know how you do it.
I've been better.
I don't know.
Yeah, drugs.
No, how you do it.
I've drugged myself into consciousness. That's exactly how I do it. You know, it's really weird. The 2 guys who I work with now that I'm back on overnight, it's great because I'm in a position now where I no longer work with a million people. I'm in a department where there's 3 of us. Mm-hmm. And I'm lucky because all of the people who I work with are pretty cool.
Okay.
But they're all like mutants. So we were playing Dawn Strange as the lead-in music before our opening song, which is Scumbag Inc., our theme song. But before that, we were playing a song from Dawn Strange, and he always has these songs about aliens or mutants or all sorts of things. And I feel like the guys I work with, they're kind of mutants. They don't drink coffee. They work overnight, 11 p.m. to 7:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. They rarely sleep throughout the work shift, like on their breaks and things like that.
Okay.
And they don't take any drugs to keep themselves awake. I don't get that.
So what do they do?
I don't know. They must sleep when they're at home. They're like, I don't want to say subhuman. They're like ultra-human. They're beyond human.
They got to be doing something.
Maybe they have some sort of like alien DNA.
Maybe.
Anyways, we've got a good show for you lined up today. It is almost International Podcast Day. It is almost time for the PodCon, which is going to be September 30th, 5 to 10 p.m. at Spirit. We've got Jay Cooper, who's going to be hosting the evening. I'll be hosting the discussion panel at 6 p.m. And we also have Brayton, who's going to be in studio. We're going to talk with him in a few minutes. Did I say your name wrong?
No, you said it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
And he's going to be... He is from the Bardic Mystery Tour, and they are going to be tabling at the event. So we're going to talk with him about his podcast, about the opportunities that PodCon can bring for a podcaster in Pittsburgh, the projected opportunities. This is the first time we've had it, so we're speculating at this point. But I think it's going to be a good event. I was talking with a media outlet about the PodCon, so we're going to be in one of the papers at least. I think we're going to be in at least a few of them talking about the event. We've got over 30 podcasts that will have tables set up at the event that you will be able to go around and learn about their shows. We've got 4 live shows on the main stage and the discussion panel, which, of course, I, Brian Crawford, am putting Pittsburgh on the world stage.
That's right.
The world
Where
stage.
it should be.
Among all of these other great broadcasters, there's going to need to be podcasts, discussions, that will be broadcasting live via Hangouts through the International Podcast Day website from India, China, Trinidad and Tobago, South America, multiple places in Europe. I know Ireland and France, for example, South America, Australia, just everywhere. Every corner of the globe is covered, and then Pittsburgh is covered as well. And it's going to be great. We have a really incredible panel for this. I haven't really had a chance to talk much about the PodCon because we've just had so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we have Camelia Adams, we have Michael Sorg, Katie Dudas of the Scarehouse podcast. Yeah, Sorgatron. Just so many great people, so many talented people on the discussion panel. Mike Sasson of this network.
Sasson. Yes.
Yeah, so many talented people. And I really, really strived to bring a diverse group of people, diverse in the sense of they all come at podcasting from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. So we have Michael Sorg, who built the podcast network, somebody who I consider one of the founders of podcasting. He's been doing it for like 14 years or something like that.
And he's so good at it, too.
He's great at it. I didn't even know that podcasting existed until like just before we started the River's Edge. So he's been doing it forever. You've got Ms. Adams, who has a podcast that syndicated her podcast on terrestrial AM radio.
Okay.
Michael Sasson, who left terrestrial FM radio to come to online radio and podcasting. And then
now he's even bigger.
He's even bigger
than he was before.
That's right. And then we've got Katie Dudas from Scarehouse, who uses podcasting to enhance the Scarehouse business. And then we also have Corey Nevels of the B-Movie Bros, who is somebody who does podcasting as a hobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
But his podcast actually has a worldwide reach, and he gets most of his listeners from overseas and interviews people from overseas who create these B-movies.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of cool to see somebody who is a hobbyist that just for the fun of podcasting has allowed his show to get this worldwide appeal. I don't know how big it is, but it does have. That's where most of his listeners come from, and it's kind of interesting how the world is connected. So we have all of these different people who are involved in podcasting for different reasons, and I think the discussion is going to be really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to meeting everyone.
Have you been to Spirit upstairs before?
I have.
Yeah, you've seen that big stage. We're going to be on the big stage.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really nice.
Oh, I haven't been on that stage in a long time.
It's free to go, so if you're listening to this show and just hearing about PodCon for the first time, it is free to attend. So there's no reason not to come out. If you're somebody who likes really, really boring podcasts, and I know someone's going to get angry with me like Joe Rogan's podcast, I'm sorry, I can't. It puts me to sleep. But come out and experience some local stuff and fill your podcast app with all sorts of great local subscriptions.
I have a feeling this is going to be a packed event.
You think?
I do.
I hope.
I really do. And it's right in the heart of, because this is like what? Lawrenceville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crowded there all the time. And Spirit, because me and Howard used to do monthly shows down there. We had good numbers and stuff. So for something of this magnitude,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I can actually say that I'm internationally known. I can actually say that now.
You've got it. Yeah, they've retweeted
that's gonna be nice.
Shared. Yeah.
No more of this local stuff, not this. I'm a tri-state comic. No, I'm international now because everybody's gonna see and hear me, or at least hear me. So
yes.
So I gotta make sure that I gotta make sure my voice is tight for next week. Make sure I'm good.
So, Jay, as you know today, we made this work. I did the Science Center podcast, which is great. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, you can listen to it Wednesdays at 10 a.m. at riversedgepgh.com. And you can also subscribe to Snack on your podcast app. But I did the podcast. I had to run to Spirit to take care of some business there. Mm-hmm. Went to bed. Only got 2 hours of sleep. I literally woke up, just threw on pants. I'm wearing like these pajama pants. and ran
Do
here.
that again. Do that again.
Ran here into the studio to make this work. And sometimes, at least before, that was kind of my normal routine. Mm-hmm. Do you have a normal routine when you wake up?
I try to put more air into my air mattress.
Okay.
because when I wake up, I find out that I'm sunk in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm due for another air mattress. Should be coming in the mail tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, you poke one little tiny hole.
You
get one little hole in it,
and it's
then
done.
Yeah, I even put duct tape on it. Got my air mattress looking all ghetto to be damned. It looks terrible. It's just duct tape all on the side covering the hole, and still air escapes. So duct tape ain't shit, man. I thought that.
Yeah,
you thought it was good.
Yeah,
But
it
no,
did
it
nothing.
Fooled you.
You gotta get that paint on stuff where you can float the screen door in the bottom of the boat. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what's this?
I know what you're
Okay.
talking
Yeah.
about. That thing that was advertised.
Yeah, just watch
Yeah.
infomercials. You'll see it. I forget what it's called.
It's real cool. I'll tell you about it later.
Well, anyways, when I wake up, I have a routine that I like to do. I like to wake up and immediately run into the shower. Get my shower out of the way, and then, you do everything else. You brush your teeth and things like that. But I'm really, really big on dental hygiene.
Okay.
And the other day, I was at the Apple store because I'm getting my keyboard replaced.
Okay.
So I'm at the Apple store, and I'm waiting for the person at the Genius Bar to look at this keyboard for the iPad.
Is that what they're calling it now? The Genius Bar?
They've called it that forever.
Really?
Yes. So I'm there,
Okay.
I'm waiting, and of course my eyes starts to wander.
Okay.
And I'm looking throughout the store at all of the different things. Mm-hmm. And something caught my eye. A Colgate Bluetooth toothbrush. And
Okay.
I thought I could add that to the routine. But I looked on Amazon. I couldn't find one there. But what I did find was a toothbrush that was an Oral-B. It's like $130. My question is, do you think a Bluetooth toothbrush is necessary? Do you think that is something that would be beneficial to your morning routine?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, you really want people to hear you brushing your teeth and
They're
and
not
brushing
listening to you. It's a Bluetooth. It sends your toothbrushing data to your phone or to your tablet.
Oh, it's like that. I'm thinking Bluetooth, like you're actually having a conversation
No,
through the
no.
phone while you're brushing. Because I'm like, that wouldn't make sense.
It's
That
not worth
would-
it. Yeah.
No, not
Like,
that.
hold on a
Like
second, I'm brushing my tongue.
literally, it'll tell you.
You know, the gag reflexes. That's what you get when you brush your tongue.
Yeah, no, this thing tells you, for example, this thing tells you if you've missed a spot or if you're brushing too much, brushing not enough. Like, to me, this is a genius invention. I'm thinking about spending the money to get a Bluetooth toothbrush.
And how much is this again?
$130.
Shit.
For good dental hygiene, there's nothing there's nothing really that's too expensive for good dental hygiene. And actually, $130 is not that much for a good, high-quality, rechargeable
I was about to say,
battery
it's a
toothbrush.
rechargeable
It is.
one.
It's a
Okay.
rechargeable. It's battery operated, and they say that they're better for your teeth in general. But this one will specifically tell you, because did you know that you can overbrush?
Yeah.
You can. So, like, on my front two teeth, there's one tooth that has a little bit less of a gum than the other tooth, and that's because I brushed it away. It was from overbrushing.
You overbrushed your gum.
I overbrushed my tooth, and the gum started to wear away. That's something that can happen from overbrushing.
Yeah.
I saw this at the Apple Store. I was like, blew my mind. A Bluetooth toothbrush.
You know what? Since we're on the subject, because a friend of mine, Sam Irvin, shout out to DJ Hollywood. He posted something on Facebook not too long ago, and it was a picture that showed different ways to brush your teeth, and it was saying, how do you brush them and what's the correct way? I don't remember exactly which one was the correct way, but it showed like 5-6 different ways. And I gotta be honest, I feel like I've done like maybe 2 or 3 of them. Mm-hmm, yeah. You know, because I never really paid attention. I just, back forth like that and the side and this, and then you turn it and get the back of the teeth and stuff. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it right.
That's what I mean.
All this time, I've probably been doing it wrong.
This is what I'm saying. The Bluetooth,
Circles,
the Bluetooth toothbrush could make sure that you're doing it correctly. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is just such a great idea because on the actual app, it will tell you. It has a picture of your teeth, and it'll tell you how long you've brushed different areas, where you need to spend more time. It tracks all of that for you. I'm just like my mind was blown. And I just felt like I needed to bring this up, and I wanted to ask you, if you're listening, you can tweet us at RiverTalkPGH, at Coop Troop Comedy, or you can text us at 412-407-2PGH, and of course we have the Facebook Live feed. Would you buy a Bluetooth toothbrush? That's the question.
Yeah. Do you guys have $130 to piss away?
That's not. If it saves you a cavity, then it has done its job, and it was worth that $130.
I would love to see the commercial for this thing to see how it properly is supposed to help clean your teeth. I really do, because right now I'm on this kick now with the charcoal powder that's supposed to help make your teeth whiter or something. And so I bought the stuff, right? But I didn't buy the brush.
Yeah, you gotta get
so
the
now
brush.
I'm like, well, shit, I can't use a regular toothbrush now. Now I got to buy the brush. That's another expense. I spent like another $4 getting that.
I don't know.
Because the toothbrush has to have black bristles on it. Otherwise, because the powder is going to stain the shit. Oh, not to mention, folks, if you do get it, don't wear anything bright. Don't wear anything at all. Actually, don't wear a shirt. Don't wear your best shit if you're going to brush your teeth, because it gets all over and it will stain. And yeah, good luck trying to get that shit out. But I haven't tried it out yet, but I will, though, because, the brush hasn't come in the mail yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I think it's time, because we do have a guest, we need to talk about the PodCon.
All right.
More about the PodCon.
Yes.
If you're going to the PodCon, let us know. What are you excited about? But we have Cooper's Corner. Do you want to play the music?
Man, we can get into it. I'm feeling up for it.
All right.
Cooper's Corner. Cooper's Corner. Come on, you can jump in. Cooper's Corner. Cooper's Corner. Cooper's Corner. Cooper's Corner. Yeah. Cooper's Corner. Cooper's Corner. Yeah. This dude made an instrument out of his iced coffee.
That's what happens when you're tired as fuck.
I love it. All right, folks, welcome to Cooper's Corner. And this is actually a first time where Cooper's Corner and Hood Rat of the Week, where the people I'm talking about have not been identified.
Okay.
There are no names to be...
No names associated.
Yeah, no names have been shot out. But this is a situation that happened 4 days ago in Montgomery Village, Maryland, where a 60-year-old woman was learning how to drive for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, a friend of hers, a man in his 50s, was in the passenger seat teaching her how to drive. And she drove off the road, so to speak. Actually, do you have the picture?
We keep talking.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what happened is she drove into this park. I'm trying to remember what the name of the park was called. What was
it doesn't matter. She drove
into the park, and as you can see in the picture, if you can see behind me, you can see the tire tracks. So she drove through that, and then she drove through a fence, and then drove it right into the swimming pool of the community center where they it's been closed for the season. Luckily, they was able to get out. And they just stood there and waited until the rescue team came. But I just found it funny. What a way to start learning how to drive at 60.
Yeah.
I can't believe why wait so long?
Yeah, well, better late than never.
Yeah, I guess. But at the same time, okay, when she drove into the park, and didn't she think to hit? I mean, maybe she panicked. Maybe she's led foot. I don't know.
Maybe she's just going through dementia.
Maybe. And if that's the case, then she shouldn't be driving at all. Not at all.
You could say that for a lot of people,
the old
right?
man, especially in Pittsburgh, Jesus, with all the detours and stuff that we had here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I mean, just from driving through that, and then hitting the fence, you didn't think to hit the brakes. I mean, I don't know.
So I feel like this could be an interesting attraction for the community center. You've got the pool. Now you've got the car. It's kind of like a little explorer zone in the pool.
Yeah. Oh,
And if it's an old lady, you know she's already managed to get something in the car that's interesting to look at. It could be like artifacts. You go in with scuba gear, trying to find
yeah.
the different artifacts left over.
North Creek Community Center. That's
All right.
that's what it's called. But why? And if you could see in the picture, like how it's just like in there. Like here, you can check this out.
Let's
Brayton.
keep things rolling along
Yeah,
here.
that just looks bad.
They should
Oh,
do a
he had to
competition.
see this. He had to see this. This is bad, and you guys can see it too. You see how bad this is. I mean, my God, that's just sad. She could have stopped right there.
You know
in the
what? Though
grass.
she kind of lucked out because she drove into this pool, and it doesn't appear that the car is completely submerged. So she seems like she's okay. Mm-hmm. She could have driven off a cliff. She could have driven into another vehicle. She could have that could have gone many different ways that would not have been.
Oh, absolutely.
Been really good.
And if you saw in the picture, the windows were down. So because the first thing that came to mind was, well, when they land in the water, how the hell did they get out? Because you would think the water would have just like submerged in
can't-
it,
she
and they
can't-
wouldn't have been able to open the door.
Just get out the
so the
window,
windows they just
So she
swam
can't
out from under the-
drive, but she can still swim.
But she can swim.
She can
I was
swim.
gonna say 60's not that old, I mean.
It's not
No.
that old, but it's I don't know. It seems almost kind of late
Well,
to start
age-
doing something like that.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't know.
I mean, yeah.
But
I don't know. I feel like maybe
kudos to her, though.
you're at that age where you're like, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm gonna learn to drive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like you just got a car, Jay, and I
did.
couldn't imagine. Now I'm some guy who grew up out in Westmoreland County where the public transit is a nightmare. I couldn't imagine going through 30 plus years without driving because
Yeah.
to me it's like you're trapped because our public transit just sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder what made her want to do it now.
I don't know.
Like, is she tired of taking the bus?
Maybe she just wants to drive.
she
Maybe that's
just-
always been a goal of hers, and she just decided to do it.
And she said, you know what? At 60, I'm going to learn.
Maybe
She
got
learned?
a new
Like, you know what?
job, and she was like, now I need to drive.
Maybe.
That's possible.
Or she won the lottery, finally bought a car. I don't know, just spitballing.
Yeah,
possible.
it could be a
I
whole
just-
bunch
well,
of
I
things.
just think,
I
like-
got to make it to bingo.
I just feel like that could be it too, or the casino. I just feel like bad because you wait all of this time. You're 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You finally get a driver's license. You finally get a car, and then it gets revoked because you drove it into the community pool. So all of these years of waiting, and it was all for naught at the end of the day.
You know what's funny? What if the North Creek Community Center was the destination?
The GPS said, go this way.
Right.
I was just following.
I didn't even think about that till just now. What if that was the destination and she was just trying to find a parking spot?
Yeah.
And she just kept driving until she could find one. Or like me when I was a kid, when I first started riding a bike, I sucked at riding a bike when I was a kid. I did not know how to hit the brakes or whatever, so I just kept riding my bike until I crashed into something.
Yeah, run into the
Run-
cheapest car in the block,
right. Either a car or a wall or some shrubs, some bushes or something. I fucked up my bike many times.
Another kid on a bike.
Yeah. Oh God, I did that before.
That's the way to stop.
It's almost like when you're in the grocery store and you're stepping on your mom's heel while she's pushing the cart.
They don't like that.
Yeah, it was bad. It
So-
was very bad.
So I'm really excited because we do have the PodCon coming up, and we
Yes.
have Brayton here. And Brayton, you
Ew.
are in the Bardic Mystery Tour podcast.
Yes,
You're going to be at
That is correct.
You're going to be at the PodCon
Yes.
September 30th. It's
Yeah.
from 5 to 10 p.m. at Spirit, right in Lawrenceville. And I'm really excited. Now, you guys are... describe your podcast. It is a Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
podcast, and
Yep.
you do the game live, or you record the game
Yeah.
while you're playing, and
Exactly.
you write your own music for the game as well.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. That's perfectly it. So our podcast comes out once a week on Mondays. So we play like once a month, and then we chop that play session into
Okay.
4 episodes.
That makes sense.
And I edit it because there's some downtime, where you're calculating and stuff.
Yeah.
But so that means that we have about 1 hour episodes. So I think it's like a bite-sized chunk. And then we try to make ours. So it's the Bardic Mystery Tour. So I don't know how familiar you guys are or your listeners are with Dungeons and Dragons, but let's
I
just
am
assume.
not.
I've dabbled in it.
Okay, I was going to assume a low amount for the listeners' sake.
Low in that amount for me. So,
Okay.
so you can tell
Oh,
me.
there's plenty of geeks on that view of the show, and I mean that as a compliment. That is a compliment. But go on.
So it's just, I mean, it's basically an exercise in group storytelling, but then there are these books that have rules in them so that you can randomize your results. Mm-hmm. So that it's not just one person saying, oh, well, this happened, this didn't happen. You like roll dice. You say, oh, this happened. It adds a little excitement. So, but the way we did ours, so we're all bards, which is a character that they perform for a living, and all their abilities are related to performance. So they're like, singers and jugglers and storytellers. But in our podcast, all of us are musicians in a rock and roll band.
Okay.
So we go on tour, and then it's kind of Scooby-Doo-esque where we go to a new town, and then every time it's like, oh, the venue's closed for some reason, and then we're like, oh, and then we have to go solve a mystery so that we can play our show.
Cool.
So
Okay.
I like it.
yeah. So the point was to make it.
Do you have a catchphrase at the end that the villain will say, like "damn those kids" or something?
I wish we just always go, oh, and then we play our show.
Okay.
Well, I have a little bit of a sampling of the music, and we're going to talk more about the show, but just so everyone can get an idea of what we're talking about. Whoops, not that music. we have a sample of the music here, and this is called Lord Falcon. And it is part of the podcast. This is one of the songs that we
this is
air.
one of the songs that our band plays at a show in the podcast.
All right, here it is.
As thunder rolls across the plains, chasing the lightning flash, and nature stands in silent fear of events that soon will pass. The armies of hell are swelling now to enact their heinous plan. The tattered army of King Salad makes the final stand. Demon hordes just one assault from ravaging the meek. As a shadow spreads across the field, cast from a mountain peak, Lord Falcon, enemy of evil and of vile. Lord Falcon, banisher of wickedness for miles. Falcon sits astride his steed, looming oh so large. His warriors are at his side as they begin to charge. To turn the battle just in time against the demon horde. 1,000 of the bravest men riding unicorns. Lord Falcon, enemy of evil and the vile. Lord Falcon, banisher of wickedness for miles. Lord Falcon, Lord Falcon, Lord Falcon, Lord Falcon, Falcon.
Lord Falcon
Oh my
of the Bardic
God.
Mystery Tour here on River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network. Jay Cooper, Brian Crawford here in studio, and we're talking with Brayton right now of Bardic Mystery Tour, and I love that.
Yeah,
that reminds me.
I'm sorry. That was just one of the most catchiest songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, and
That
it
was
reminds
really
me.
good.
Thank you.
There's a group that I like. They're called Rhapsody of Fire. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I don't
They're
know.
a metal group, but it's a symphonic metal group that does storytelling music,
Yeah.
and it takes place in a medieval
Yeah.
culture. And this kind of reminds me of that in a way, and I love that where there's a story element to the song as well, and I think that obviously makes sense with what you guys are doing with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So, does anyone else do anything like this, where they actually have original music tied into the game?
So I'm not sure. So there's a band out of Pittsburgh. They don't do a podcast. You've probably heard of Bethlehem.
Yes. Mhm.
So they're D&D based.
Yes.
Stuff. I don't know those guys per se, but
They got a sword in the back corner of theirs. Yeah.
But they're really awesome. But there's a lot of bands, especially metal bands, who have like D&D influence, like
Yeah.
high fantasy kind of stuff. I haven't heard of another podcast doing this kind of thing, except for there's another one they're in Dallas Fort Worth area. So
Okay.
Okay.
but they're more
nice.
of a pop group.
Now, did you ever have? You know what you should do? This would be great. Just a brainstorming idea. With the internet and the technology that we have today, you guys should do a battle of the bands in the D&D where maybe you can play it virtually. Is that even possible? Where you can play it virtually?
You could potentially.
That would be.
I feel like that would be interesting. Where you would have like the two bands meet and square off.
Yeah, well,
in the game.
That would be badass.
I think
that would be
fun.
badass, man.
I think that'd be fun. I reached out to them. They're cool. We're friendly on the internet. We haven't done anything together yet, but we're really new and we're really small as far as our following goes. Compared to them, they're much bigger following than we have. But yeah, everybody tweeted them. They're called Bombarded. Tweeted them and tell them to do a battle of the bands with us.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that would be cool.
With a song like that, I mean, my goodness. So I'm sorry. I visualized like I saw anime.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
The whole time in my head when I heard the music, like yeah. So wow,
that fits. Yeah, we try to do so. That one's kind of like this, I don't know, old school metal feeling, but we kind of, we have a wide variety of musical styles that we do. Like I come from a punk rock background, so like there's a huge punk rock influence on all of our stuff. But like the other song that I brought in is more of like a synth pop kind of song, just to show a variety.
That's Grundledor's?
Yeah, Grundledor's Girl is the other song. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna play that at the end of today's program.
Perfect.
To wrap things up.
So, but yeah, when we write songs, we just try to, pick something that's fun, and we try to just be authentic, as authentic as we can. So, just try to get into the genre. So we don't just pick a genre just because we haven't done it before. Like, we're probably not gonna do, I don't know, like trap music because that's totally outside of our experience.
Yeah.
So, although something that we want to do, and we've done one guest star so far, but as time goes on, we'll probably have more guest stars, and their musical influence will, like, they're going to help us write the songs.
The show for sure.
Yeah. So that's not to say we won't ever do any kind of specific music. But.
Now, when you say trap music, what kind of trap music are we talking about?
See, I picked that because I know nothing about trap, so I thought that would be a good
we're
example.
talking about
I don't
rap,
know.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was like, oh, they didn't make trap rock, did they?
No. I was talking about rap.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah,
because there's like 50 different genres of rock. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So because I think to me it's important to not, like, the goal is not to make fun of a kind of music. So if I can't feel like I understand it or can authentically add to the collection of music in the world, then I'll stay away from it because I don't want to. I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to make bad music.
Right.
So
I get it.
How long have you guys existed as a podcast? You said you're newer.
Yeah, our first one aired in May.
Oh wow! So you're not even.
Oh my God,
old.
you are
That's
fresh.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're real fresh.
Okay.
It's a big undertaking. I think I bit off. I don't think I bit off more than I can chew, but I bit off a lot because we do that weekly. Release. So.
Okay.
So something like PodCon, where you're going to be one of more than 30 podcasts that will have a table at the event.
Yeah.
How beneficial is that for a new podcast to be able to take part in and reach out to an audience of people who are looking for podcasts?
So I don't know for sure because we haven't done it yet. This is the first one, but I'm really excited because I think that. So like the type of podcast we do is like real niche audience, right? Because you have to like listen to podcasts, and you have to like D&D, and you have to like our kind of flavor of D&D, right? So the more people we can reach, the better. But I think that having some face-to-face interaction with people is a way stronger way to get people to check out your podcast. So I'm hoping that we get a handful of new listeners who become regular fans from the event, and I think that'd be cool.
Now, you said, am I allowed to say where you work on air? Is that
yeah.
Okay. You said you work for Looking for Group?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm one of the owners.
Oh, great. Okay, so do you know Michael Sorg then as well?
Yeah.
Great. So he's been obviously really involved in the podcasting community.
Yeah.
What are your observations of the podcasting community in Pittsburgh? What do you think are some of the strengths?
So I don't have a strong. I don't know. Like I don't have much to say about it because I know Mike Sorg a little bit, but not. I know him to see him.
Is this
But
like
I
your
don't-
first time really getting involved in the greater podcast community?
Yeah, so I was a driver, overnight driver for a long time, so I like listened to a lot of podcasts, but they're mostly they weren't Pittsburgh-based podcasts. So that's another thing about the PodCon that I think is cool, because I didn't even know where to go to find more Pittsburgh-based podcasts. You know, and I think podcasts are kind of a personal thing. Like, you know, you might be best friends with somebody and like different podcasts.
Oh, sure.
you know?
Right.
So it's kind of hard to get people to recommend good podcasts. So I think that an event like that gives you the opportunity to just get a little taste of a bunch of stuff. Oh, I didn't know anybody was doing that. Like you were talking about the guy who's doing the B-movie
B-movie
podcast.
Bros, yeah.
And I was like, that's really cool. Like, maybe
Yeah.
I'll check that out. So
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting because they get B-movie directors to come on the podcast, and they will call in via Skype or whatever. So they get a lot of international guests because they're calling in to talk about this podcast, and that's how they've gained this international audience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you know how it is. You go on a show and you tell everyone, and then your friends listen, so they experience a lot of the same things. So people who know these directors over in these other countries, they'll listen into the podcast to hear what he's saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think it's a good like organic growth kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know what to expect from the event outside of just meeting a bunch of new people.
Well, that's one of the cool things too, I think, about the PodCon is that because there's so many different podcasters in one place, it's a great way to network and meet new people. And one of the things that I was really shocked with putting on the PodCon is how many podcasts that exist in Pittsburgh that I did not know about. I thought I was pretty well in the know in the podcasting community, and I was expecting to see a lot of the same names that I already know.
Yeah.
And when I look at the list of 30 plus podcasts, most of these podcasts I haven't met with yet, or I haven't been introduced to. So to me, it's really going to be exciting too to diversify my podcasting listening and add a lot more programming to my repertoire as well. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to meet these people and find out what they do and what their styles are and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's interesting because since podcasting is already, it's just naturally an international thing. Like we have a relatively small number of downloads weekly, but some of them are from Norway, some of them are from Namibia, and it's just like, how did you find out? And they just found us on the internet somewhere and have been listening, and it's cool. It's like, hey, and I don't know them, but
Right.
you know,
But
Yeah,
as listeners,
it's cool.
listeners,
and I feel
followers,
yeah.
take them from anywhere.
I feel like your podcast has the potential to reach more of a worldwide audience. My podcast, for example, which I love, is very focused on things that are going on in the city of Pittsburgh, in the region, where something like yours, people can from all over the world listen in and understand what you're doing if they can speak and hear English and understand it, and B, have an interest in Dungeons and Dragons, because that is, I imagine, that's worldwide.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So that's kind of a neat opportunity, and I think it's neat to be able to be listened to on the world stage. I know with the radio network, it does get that worldwide audience, and people love to listen in and experience new music, and that's one of the things that we offer here.
Yeah, I also think it's kind of exciting. I'm sure you've had this experience where you go and look at like the map of where people are listening from, and you see like a new place. And you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. We got someone from wherever, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting to see where the numbers come from and who's listening. And for a while, we would have different countries that I always said, oh, we're popular in this country or that country. Germany was one. We always had listeners in Germany at all times on the actual River's Edge stream, for the music stream. And I always thought that was kind of weird. Like, why? Why in Germany? You know,
Das ist cool.
just have good taste in good taste in music, I suppose. So, very cool. Well, maybe we'll play the other song now because people are thinking about it. So, yeah, we're going to play the second song here.
What's it
from
called?
The
What's
Bardic
this one?
Mystery Tour. This one is...
It's called Grendeldor's Girl. It's a love song written to a girl that one character named Grendeldor wrote.
Real quick, has any of the... Before we play this, have any of the characters died in the game?
None of our player characters have died yet. But it's certainly something that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 1,000 opinions about D&D podcasts I don't necessarily want to bog down the conversation with, but something we take pride in with ours is some feel more, like, so you say, like, on tracks, on rails, railroaded, and that just means, like, the DM or the person, the game master, doesn't let the players have that much autonomy, and our game master, which is my brother Ed, he'll let us do whatever, which I think can be super frustrating because we have that mystery element, and I know that we have fans who have said, obviously this is the answer, why don't you just go here and do this, and we just were messing around and didn't realize it.
Okay.
And so I'm sure that we will die at some point is what I'm trying to get to.
What's the protocol for that? Like, what happens when a character dies? Do you throw a funeral?
Is there a
seems like
sound
good
bite?
idea. We don't have a soundbite yet, but if someone dies, I'm sure we'll create one.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, every time I think about like Mario Brothers, like every game, they always have some cool song to play when they die.
Well, hopefully
You
it's
know.
not as often as that you
Yeah.
recognize the song.
Right.
Can I get you to make a promise for me right now, right here, right now? If I'm ever on the podcast and my character dies, take that character to Han Funeral Home, the only family-owned funeral home here in Millville, who specializes in green burials. Can you promise me that?
Sure, yeah.
All right, thank you. So my character, when it dies, it's only going to be treated with the best care in funeral services. It's Han Funeral Home right here in Millville.
I wasn't sure if
So,
he was going to do the plug or not, but you did it.
We've got
You snuck it in there again.
Grundlelore's
Girl.
Girl. Okay. And that's right here. We're going to play that right here on River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network. Then we're going to roll in with the Hood Red of the Week. That's Jay Cooper. I'm Brian Crawford. This is River Talk. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Halfling girl, you smell so sweet. With that hair on your feet, you smell so sweet. Check out my groovy beat. Ooh, halfling girl, serve me another drink. Take me to the brink, serve me another drink, so I no longer think. Oh, how could you love a beast like me? I'm just so ugly, gnarly old buck tusks, pheromone orc musk, heart that is an empty husk. How could it work for us? Oh, how could you love a beast like me? I'm always hungry, get me some soup, miss, I'm hungrier than Tantalus. Can I get a drink, please? I'm down on my knobby knees. I'm just so ugly, you smell so sweet. Pheromone orc musk, you smell so sweet. How could it work for us? Oh, halfling girl, you smell so sweet. I'm down. How could it work for us?
This is River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network. Awesome. Again.
That was so good.
Bardic
I
Mystery Tour.
visualized it again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. So we have the Hood Red of the Week, and I think we're just gonna roll right into it.
Yeah, we can roll
We're
right
just gonna
into
roll
it.
right. I mean, you
definitely.
can't top the Bardic Mystery Tour, so we're not gonna play the typical music. What do we have? What is on the Hood Red of the Week?
On the Hood Red of the Week is a situation that happened a few days ago in Salem, New Hampshire, where this man, who I shouldn't even call him the Hood Red of the Week, I should call him Daddy of the Year, and I use that term loosely. A man who is responsible for taking his toddler and sticking him inside a prize machine, you know, like...
Wait,
I'm not-
sticking the toddler in the prize machine.
Yeah, his toddler. His, they didn't say how old the little girl was, but she was small enough to fit inside the prize machine and take toys out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go.
That's
Yeah. So, you know, and then he had like his son that was standing by. I guess he was like the lookout.
That's incredible. I love the fact that the sun is the lookout.
I know, right? So in the midst of pulling prizes out, they did come out with some good shit. They snagged out a Nintendo Switch
Wow.
and a Nintendo DS before they left.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. I mean, it's like it's impressive what they stole, but the fact that they stole and the fact that he had to take his
That's a big
toddler daughter and stick her in the machine to grab the shit out
People
of it.
are always teaching their kids how to steal. That's something that I learned working in retail. Like whenever you work at Sears or something like that, I used to do the fitting room, and you would always see mothers teaching their daughters how to steal. It was always because it was always the mother and daughter out in that area that were shopping together, and you would always see them teaching and training the kids how to steal. So this doesn't surprise me. It's sad,
And you know what?
but it's not shocking.
And you know what? I wanted to talk about this subject because it kind of hit close to home for me a little bit. Like, I can talk about it now because the place had shut down so many years ago. Back when I used to work at Ames department store, they used to have a claw machine at the checkout. And whenever management wasn't around, I used to stick my arm in there and I used to steal the stuffed animals out of there. I still have them to this day at my house. I have a big garbage bag full of stuffed animals,
That's
and
hilarious.
I give them away sometimes as gifts to whatever lady I was talking to at the time.
See,
I've been like, here, I thought about you.
Yeah.
even though it was something I stole like 15 years prior. I'm like,
That's
here,
funny.
I saw this and thought of you.
Yeah, where I work, it's incredible. We have these machines, these vending machines, and the price is outrageous. Mm-hmm. So, like, they keep raising the price, but none of the machines work. They all take your money, and they don't invest in fixing the machines. They just keep raising the price, and it's already stealing your money. They want $1.75 for 2 Reese cups.
Shit.
That's a lot.
2 Reese cups. It's insane.
That is insane.
Like, I mean, Reese's are good, but they're not that good.
Yeah, $1.75. You should at least get the 4-pack.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's
Or the
Or
giant
it better
cups.
be one big giant Reese cup.
yeah,
for
it's crazy.
$1.75.
They keep raising the prices higher and higher and higher, and actually, it's getting to the point where I can't afford to get anything out of the vending machine.
Right? Yeah. It's going to be hard to buy Halloween candy, and that's coming up soon.
Yeah, well, you know what's crazy is there's a 7-Eleven down the street from where I work, and convenience store prices are greatly cheap, and that's saying something because convenience stores, they tend to be a little bit on the higher end of things because they know that they have you. You're there. You can't go anywhere else. But their prices, it's like a discount compared to these vending machines.
Yeah.
Well, you just gotta set up shop next to them. You know, go to the Sam's Club, buy a case.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Brian's
shit.
Reese's cups.
There we go.
$1.50.
That
Right.
could be it. A special brand. We need to get like an interesting package, a new package for it.
Well, you don't want to spend too much. You're gonna cut into your profit margin.
That's true. But then it's
Yeah.
not as much fun. I feel like if it's like a big picture of my face with like a Reese cup knockoff inside, that would be kind of fun.
A good way to make a killing, especially like during football season or especially baseball season, I would buy a couple of cases of water and then get like a container full of ice and sell them outside for $1 a piece.
Yeah.
Now, because the 24 case, you can get them for like no more than $4.
Yeah. for
So,
sure, yeah.
get like 4 cases of that, sell them at $1 a piece. You're making a pretty damn good profit, tax-free.
Yeah.
I figure I could get away with it because half the people that be out there, they don't have a license to sell shit out
That's
there.
right. Yeah,
So
you're probably fine.
why not? I mean, if you can sell your bootleg shirts,
Sure.
I can sell some Crystal Lake water.
Yeah. Well, also,
Crystal Springs or Deer Mountain or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell's on sale.
if you do have to run, you can just leave the water behind. You only spent $4. You know?
Right. They'd be like, hey, what are you doing? And then I could just drop the water and run.
Yeah, just get a cheap styrofoam cooler. You don't want to spend too much on that.
Yeah, they come at me. I'll just dump the shit over with water bottles and ice everywhere and shit, and then everybody will run like free water, and then that'll give me a time to make my daring escape.
Yeah, that's a perfect plan.
Yeah.
I can't see what could go wrong with that plan.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
I'm a good runner. At least I was
is
in
that
my
years of
younger
practice
Last time
from
I
stealing
checked.
at Ames?
Somewhat. You know what? There were times that this is my younger days, people. When I was in my teens, I used to steal shit, and then I
years
was
ago.
really, really good at running. Of course, I was a lot smaller back then, though.
Yeah.
I was probably like $1.75 back then, so I could
Did I
run
ever
like
tell
the
you
wind.
what happens when you steal from Sears?
I've never stolen from Sears, so I was not.
No, but did I ever tell you like the policy? It's pretty fantastic. So I worked at Sears, and you would see people get caught. And most places, when they catch someone, it's like real discreet and everything else. Well, Sears, it's the complete opposite. It's great. When they catch someone shoplifting, they call every manager and supervisor in the building to that person. And literally, they form two lines, and they parade the person the entire way through the store. I feel like they take every angle possible just to show off that, hey, we caught someone! We did it! We finally caught someone!
Yeah.
They're trying to do that shame walk.
The walk of shame, and they walk them up to the office where they wait for either mall security or the police. Westmoreland Mall was kind of weird because they had... Kids would go hang out there, but there were never any issues. It's not like Monroeville Mall where you have these massive brawls that come out of nowhere at the mall. Westmoreland Mall was always kind of subdued, but they have a security guard who will stand on the ceiling, like the roof of the mall outside of the food court entrance, and he'll just pace back and forth as the kids are standing outside of the mall.
Now this Sears, was this like inside of a mall? Or
yeah,
was it
Westmoreland Mall.
Okay, see, now stealing from a mall, that's a whole nother subject altogether. I mean, you got to be ballsy to steal at a mall. I mean, I've done it. But it is very ballsy.
See, I'm such like a good kid. I didn't steal anything, and I remember like the one.
Too. I was a good kid that stole.
Stealing from Ames and stealing from everywhere.
You ever hear of Robin Hood?
Robin Hood.
Yeah, I stole from the rich and gave to myself.
Well, the only thing I stole at the mall ever was hangers. Hangers. So, like, we're there.
You stole hangers?
Yeah, I know.
Seriously?
I was so lame. So, like, we're at the mall, and...
This better be some good-ass hangers, man.
They weren't. I remember my mom was saying how she needed hangers, and I remember one of the stores had, like, a huge pile of hangers, so I just grabbed them. And I don't think I realized that I was stealing, so I don't even know if it really counts.
How old were you?
I was young. Really young.
Like young, like 5,
30.
6, 7?
Probably...
22?
Around, 21, 23.
And you didn't know you was... I was about to say.
No, I was like in grade school. But, yeah, I took these hangers.
Here, Mom.
Yeah, I took these hangers and I gave them to her. And then I realized that, those weren't mine to take.
Okay. I was always scared to steal from Sears or any big store because the bigger the store is, the more cameras there are.
Oh, yeah.
And the more cameras there are, the more employees there are. So
you give Sears way too much credit. I mean, those places are poor as hell.
Not the one in the mall. It wasn't. I mean, that shit made me nervous because
maybe now.
Like the ones in certain malls, like all the departments are like close to each other. Appliances, electronics, home stuff. I mean, everybody was out in the open, walking around. That shit made me nervous. I didn't like that.
You get spotted.
And then you got cameras too. I used to spot that shit. I was really good at that. I used to be good at that. But the best place to steal from, I mean, and I can talk about this too because they don't exist no more.
All these places you stole from don't exist anymore. I'm seeing a pattern.
Right? Hey, I didn't know they was going to go out of business. KB Toys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
KB Toys was the shit. Because remember when you go in there, all the toys, like you could play with the toys and stuff, and didn't have to buy a damn thing.
Right.
That's where parents used to drop you off at so they can shop.
Right,
and then they come back and get you later.
No wonder they went out of business. No one buys anything.
Probably.
They just go in and play with the toys.
Well, one of the biggest things where they used to make money was from video games. But then when GameStop came in and they, that just took all the money out. But anyway, they had so many toys there that it was so piled up that it would end up on the floor in the aisles. I don't know if you remember that. And they didn't, even though it was small, they didn't have that many employees because they were always checking to see if somebody needed help or something.
Yeah.
And I used to steal action figures all the time. That was my thing. I loved action figures, WWE action figures, because y'all know I'm a wrestling fan. So what I would do is I would, it's so loud in there, I would just like cough while I ripped the shit. I'd be like, like that. And then I would just take it and just jam it in my pocket. Right? Oh my God, good times. Toys R Us went out of business too, right?
Yeah.
I stole from there too. I stole from Toys R Us also. Yes, Yak Backs was one of the most popular toys. You remember the Yak Back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You remember the Yak Back?
No.
You would talk. It was a recording device. You would talk into it, and it would
I
play
do
it back.
remember that now.
Yeah, it
Okay.
had like 6 seconds or something, but you could make it slow and low or high
Right,
and
slow,
fast.
low,
Okay, yeah,
fast,
I
or
remember
it
that
could
now.
say it backwards.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, hey, welcome to River's Edge. And then we like, and that shit was so cool.
Yeah, that
I
was cool.
stole like 4 of those. Oh, man. And that was hard, too, because that was that hard plastic, too. So there were times I fucked my fingers
it's
up.
interesting that
Well,
you
it's
say
the
that.
price, you know?
It's interesting that you say that because I know one of the reasons why Target, if you go into a Target store, there's no music. Mm-hmm. And that's because they say that sound, people feel more comfortable stealing when there's music playing. Because
Or noise.
They feel like,
You
they
need
feel like you
noise,
can't hear them do what they're doing. So they've gotten rid of the music as a theft deterrent.
I couldn't steal from Target either. Then another one that just made me nervous. You
Well,
know?
they actually took security serious for a while there. They had an armed guard at every Target store for a while, and then they were trying to cut down on costs, so they removed. I know too much about all of these damn retail
The
stores.
problem with stealing from Target is you're going to get hung up when you're running out and you're like, oh, should I get a piece of pizza? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
That's how
especially-
they stop that.
And yeah, because that's how it was at Ames.
Yeah,
like,
see?
because Ames had that nice snack shop. I'm like,
Not as good as,
like,
as Hills though. Hills had a superior snack shop.
I mean, it was pretty much the same thing.
No.
I mean, they had popcorn,
soft pretzel.
hot dogs, soft pretzel,
know.
Extra for cheese.
frozen
Everything at Hills.
icy. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm a Hills guy.
you're a Hills guy. I stole from them too.
Yeah, see, and that's why
I
they
told
went
you
out of
that story,
business.
didn't I?
And now we're not friends.
Didn't I tell you that story?
Out.
Where I stole
He's
from
done.
Hills.
Oh,
They gonna cut off my mic.
You stole from Hills. You're done. You're finished.
not in this
But here's the irony of it. I'm sure I told the story before. I was 17 at the time, I think. Okay, I stole from Hills. I got caught. I was banned from the place. Then 2 years later, when Ames took over Hills, I got a job there. And then within 6 to 8 months, I got fired for stealing.
See? It's all cycle.
But I upgraded my stealing, though.
Yeah.
I upgraded from action figures to phone cards because this was before. Because prepaid phones was really big back in 99, 2000. The real cell phones didn't really start blowing up until like the later 2000s and stuff. So I had like I stole so many minute cards because I worked because they were dumb. They put me in the electronics department, so I just kept stealing one at a time. Each day I kept stacking it up, and you know what? They gave me the walk.
Oh,
Shame
wow. Did that
on the way out.
Nice.
That was the first place I got fired from. I've been fired. More on that on the next episode. Like we can talk about that later. I can talk about all the jobs I got fired from. I can talk about that all day. But yeah, good times.
Good.
So what do you have coming up, Jay?
Tomorrow, Laughs at the Landing, 5th installment. Me and my man Howie D. Mack. Howie D is going to be hosting it, featuring myself, Sharon Daly from PCTV's Comics on Life will be on the show, and then of course Ed Bailey from Drinking Partners podcast. He's going to be our headliner. So that's going on next week.
Fantastic.
I mean tomorrow, not next week.
Yes,
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Rocks Landing in McKees Rocks, 506 Chartiers Avenue.
Fantastic.
Be there.
I just have a Sunday. We have a really interesting guest coming in on Sunday. We have a teacher from Shaler who later this fall is going to be leaving for Antarctica to do a research program there. We're going to talk about that, why he's going to Antarctica, and what it's like preparing for a trip like that. God bless him, because it's way too cold for me. I can't even deal with the winters here in Pittsburgh, and I'm dreading tomorrow's temperature, which is supposed to be like 60-some degrees, so I can't deal with it. I could not deal with Antarctica, but I'm really interested to hear what he has to say, so tune in to that. It's going to be 7 p.m. on the Facebook Live feed, and of course 10 a.m. Monday morning at riversedgepgh.com. Brayton, anything with you? You've got the PodCon coming up?
Yeah,
September
PodCon coming
30th?
up. So can I plug stuff for LFG?
Yeah.
Or no? All right, so like I said, I'm one of the co-owners of LFG, which is a land center in Brookline, and we have a land party coming up. That's October 20th. It's a 24-hour event. It's called Steel Siege. If you go to steelsiege.com, you'll get information.
Awesome.
So that's cool if you're into land parties.
Check that out. Don't forget to come to PodCon. It's going to be September 30th, 5 p.m. The first show starts. And we're going to be re-announcing the first show, but we've got a mystery show that will be coming. Then we also have the Wrestling Mayhem Show, the Jagoff podcast, and the Grown Business Dad podcast, as well as the live discussion panel that will be internationally broadcast through the International Podcast Day website, hosted by myself, Brian Crawford, with the great panel that we have. Jay Cooper hosting the overall event.
Yes.
Definitely come out to that September 30th. We'll be plugging that
Be there.
as time goes on.
Be there.
So,
And shout out to all the people who streamed on the live feed. Shout out to all of you.
absolutely.
I
Thanks to
appreciate all
Brayton of
you.
the Bardic Mystery Tour. Don't forget to subscribe to them on Apple Podcasts or any of your other favorite podcast apps. For Jay Cooper, I'm Brian Crawford. This has been River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's voice for local music.
Later, bitches.